Joe Budden misses rap and he's talking about coming back. What up, where's your boy Challz Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashapp to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. I don't know how you feel, if this is news to your ears, if you've been waiting for this, but there's a report out here and I want to talk about it. I don't know how I feel about it because I'm not sure if we're going to get the same Joe Budden that we used to get. But if we got something similar to that, I would be here for it. I am one of the people who never, ever agreed with Joe Budden stepping away from the microphone. I've always had an issue with Joe Budden's personality and some of the things he's said and done when he's not rapping. I feel like his bars have been almost indisputable when he was with Slaughterhouse and with his own solo music. I've always thought Joe Budden was a great rapper. A lot of times he put himself in situations where he had to speak on subjects that he probably shouldn't have spoke on and got him in trouble. A lot of guys right now to this day have issues with Joe Budden for things that he has said and things that he have instigated and his opinions that he's made. But at once upon a time, young people, there was a guy who actually was spitting actual factual bars. This thing that Kendrick Lamar is doing, that he's reinvigorated. Well, this guy was one of the foremost mentioned MCs in that category of spitting bars. His legendary days with Slaughterhouse will never be recreated. You will not get a four-man team like that ever again. Slaughterhouse was actually revered. They wanted Slaughterhouse before it actually happened. These dudes did one song, and the culture asked for these guys to join and formulate like Voltron, just like they did with the Four Horsemen. These guys are Raz, Kaz, and the other guys over there, the West Coast guys. I can't think of their names right now. But the way Slaughterhouse formed together, it was really just one song. But these guys were so good on that song that the culture pushed these guys to become a group. They became a group. They rose so fast. They did basically what Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine did, just an underground movement. They wasn't trying to get in no commercial lane. They were doing straight up underground rap, barring, right? And the people in the underground, they had a cult following and they could perform anywhere and do anything they needed to do because people was coming out. I actually, when I was a promoter, I did several shows with Slaughterhouse, right? I've done shows with Budden, without Budden. I've done a lot of shows, and Slaughterhouse was some of my most successful moments in hip-hop promotions, just going to be honest. If you understand that they have a real hunger, a passion. The people that come to see them, they don't want to see no openers. They don't want to see nothing else. They just want these four dudes. And these dudes they had something nice. They had a golden, they had a golden ticket gang, and it was a beautiful thing to see. But at the same time, Joe Budden was always a troubled man. And I believe I always say that Joe Budden sabotages everything, and he sabotaged, in my opinion, he sabotaged Slaughterhouse. It starts at the top. Joe Budden was the leader of that thing, the de facto leader, whether people want to say it or not. Budden was the leader. And by Budden acting funny when they signed Eminem and he wanted to walk away, it kind of destroyed the whole group. I'm just going to be honest. Okay? And I actually had some behind the scenes dealing with Budden and his team, and it didn't go well for me. I walked away feeling like, I don't like this. I'm not feeling this. I'm just going to be honest. So I know firsthand that Budden is a tough pill to swallow, but when he gets on that stage, this dude does his job. And as an MC, I would be curious to hear what he has to say coming back from 9 years of no rapping. That's going to be really difficult. I've seen guys come back, and it ain't pretty. Remember when Shine got out of jail? He tried to drop it didn't work. And Bobby Shmurda got out of jail, tried to drop after 7 years. It ain't easy. I think even Remy Ma had to get her stuff. She had to chill out and try to find her footing after she got out of jail. It's not easy. So he did more time away. He hasn't dropped a full album in 9 years, apparently. So that's even longer than most people we've heard about not rapping. So it's not going to be easy just to jump back on this this horse and just do what you do. Let me read this article and I want to see what you think. Joe Budden expresses interest in rapping again. Joe Budden hasn't put out a new album in nearly 4 years, but he seemingly found some urge to get back in the booth. There aren't many rappers who've stepped away from the game completely, but Joe Budden is one and hasn't dropped anything in nearly a decade. But that could all be changing very soon. During a recent episode of his namesake podcast, the Joe Budden Podcast, as caught by Sound Victor Baez. Salute to Victor Baez. He out this way where I'm at. He admitted to having desire to make a return. Quote, I want to rap. Joe Budden said to his crew members with a smirk on his face, I do. I ain't going to lie. The only thing stopping me is I don't have the beat packs. You know what a beat pack is? When somebody send you a bunch of beats in a pack and you pick through the beats. This is a standard practice in the hip-hop industry. People give you beat packs. He said he don't have one, right? If y'all want to get him back in the booth, send them beat packs. He said, he said, the only thing stopping me is I don't have the beat packs and I don't request them, he said. But if I ever ask the Alchemist or Jake one, it's going to make me do something, right? This sound like a dude. You don't even say this unless you're thinking about really doing this. Like he could have been thinking this for weeks. But this for him to say it on the show, he know the kind of scrutiny. He knows it's going to be guys like me to come up with a whole full video. Joe Budden is back, da-da-da. So he's going to say this. He's just feeling around to see what people say. All right, let me continue. The Slaughterhouse MC then went on to reveal that he was on Ransom's social media page. While there, Joe discovered a freestyle that reminded him of his older material. After hearing that, he DM'd Ransom and the latter tried to encourage Joe to come back. So what I meant to say is after hearing that, he DM'd Ransom and the latter, who is Ransom, tried to encourage Joe to come back. Quote, nigga, stop that podcasting shit. You know who you are in your heart and in your soul. You want to come back to the game, do it. F that podcast shit. Ransom supposedly told Budden. Ransom is like, listen, gang, you know what it is. Get back out here in this booth. You want to be on these hip hop streets once again. We know you only rap. You only on the podcast tip to get your money up, but you can do both, gang. I don't know a lot of people who successfully do both. Like podcasts and state of music is really difficult to be good at both, but it's possible. It's possible. He then went into a half joke. Quote, I'll call Ransom, Royce 38 Special, we back. However, the crew did get serious for a minute and genuinely asked him if he got the feels, if he feels he got what it takes. He admitted that he would have to hear what his voice sounds like after quitting smoking weed. Some people, they need that edge of weed. It chills them out, calms them out, and it gives their voice a little raspiness one way or the other. And sometimes when you stop, your voice has time to heal, and therefore it may come out differently. He might like to hear himself a certain way, and it might not be what he's expecting when he starts spitting. And what his breath control is like, and what his breath control would be like as a result. Your breath control is very important when you're rapping. And once you can't just jump back into that. It sounds easy when a guy does it all the time. He's not thinking about his breath control. But when you don't exercise your breath control, it's very important. You can't do the flowing that you want to do until you get those stanzas and all that popping right where you want them to be. So it's not going to be easy, gang. This ain't some shit you can just jump in, jump out. Let me get back to the article. But overall, his podcast co-hosts feel like he can do it. It would just take a few months to get back into the full swing of things. It might take a few months. It might take longer. I'm just going to be honest. It's not going to be simple, especially if you get one of these fire-ass beats and you can't execute. It's going to take him in his own mind to feel like he's back. He might do a whole album and be like, that shit's trash. LL did that. LL did a whole album. LL Cool J said he did a whole album with, I think it was Dr. Dre. He did a whole album, scrapped the whole album. Said he didn't like none of it. He just deleted it and went and worked with Q-Tip and put out The Force. Took him years. And he said he had to relearn how to rap again, and that's LL Cool J. So let me keep this moving. Budden did also say that not the possibility of him not being able to execute the ideas in his head because of how long he's been away have been deterrents. But he did throw out there that he would be interested in doing a passion project of sorts. He's talking. They having a real conversation. This ain't some little joke he threw out there. He's feeling it out, and he's telling why I would do it, why I wouldn't do it, what's stopping me is deterrence. It's going to take me a couple months. I need to write beats. I need to hit up Alchemist. Like, he want to do a real project, like he trying to put a classic together. I don't think it was about the sales. So these guys got to eat, right? And I know the narrative is that Joe Budden wasn't making no money. It's a lot of people that have less of a crowd than Joe Budden that can make money and sustain a livelihood in hip hop. There's hundreds of guys that are out here selling music, living hand to mouth. They're doing really well. They can do shows constantly. They tour constantly. So it ain't that he couldn't have lived well just off rap. But I think the podcasting was a better look for him. It was more lucrative after a while. And a lot of people look at record sales as the bottom line. They go, "Oh, your album did." A lot of you guys don't understand that hip hop is you can make a pretty good living off of hip hop, especially somebody with that kind of following. He could have rolled Slaughterhouse for another 10 years, just that alone, and do a. Look at Styles P. Look at the Locks. They continually working. Dipset continually working. Jim Jones and Jewel's putting out some of the best music of their career right now. Right now. So it's not that you didn't have enough sales, You can eat off this if you do it the right way. These guys are touring year round. Like I know y'all don't have a clue of what's going on with this hip hop, but just because somebody didn't sell, didn't do number one on the Billboard, that don't mean they can't eat in this thing. So he could definitely have. I don't think he stopped rapping because he couldn't eat. He was eating. I know for a fact because I was doing shows and I had to pay this guy. So I know that they was eating. Now, no, he wasn't getting what he's getting in the podcast, and no, but he could eat off that. I don't think that's why he stopped rapping. I think, yes, he let a lot of people talk to him about, oh, when you do that much criticizing, you get criticized. So I think he listened to a lot of criticism about the sales, right? And the projects, I think that last project, he tried to do too much commercial stuff. Just gonna be honest. Yeah, love songs and this and that and third. It wasn't the Joe Budden that everybody was looking for, right? And I think he tried to catch that wave and get a different fan base. It didn't work and it defeated him. But he can still do this music at a high level. Let me continue. Maybe he could rap about his rekindled beef with 50 Cent. They joking. That's funny. Joe felt that he was incredibly disrespectful and said that Fifth needs to seek professional therapy. This, of course, did not go over well with his fellow New Yorker, and things seemed to be okay as of late, as they did talk at one of the Knicks games during the playoffs. So that's irrelevant. Who cares about that? What's going to happen is this guy is probably trying to do a 4-4-4. He wants to do it like a swan song where it's like, yo, that last Budden joint, that was fire. He'll walk away from the game. That's a passion project. Like he could say, like, listen, I may not be rapping no more, but that last joint I put out, I'm happy with it. As an MC, if he happy with it, that's all that matters. If he gets some Jake One beat, Static Selector, Primo, get the Alchemist, like get some Conductor beats, like just line up the best producers and get some fire work and just be like, yo, maybe a Pete Rock joint. You know what I'm saying? Just a banging ass album that's solid from beginning to end. That's all he really need. He's not gonna be tripping off numbers. I'm just going to be honest. He's not going to really be tripping off numbers. He's going to be like, is it fire? And I know these guys talk about numbers all day and night, but certain artists, you don't say, well, what did Conway album do? Like, what did Benny the Butcher? No, you say, is it dope or not? You don't ask what the numbers are. And the only people, like when Pusha T dropped his album, the only people going to be talking about what his numbers is Drake fans. Nobody's going to care about that. They're going to download the album. They're going to play the album. They're going to say the album's banging. Not this Clips album. They're going to say it's fire. Nobody, if you watch your Twitter, no one's going to be on Twitter talking about the sales but Drake fans. Other than that, we don't care about that. The culture don't care about the numbers. If Joe Budden put a good project together, we're going to eat it up and say it's fire. And that's going to be tough because he's been out of the game so long. And he got a lot of ammunition out there. I saw some really, really weird comments already on the tweet that they were like, listen, Joe Budden, this is going to be an uphill battle to get these people, these non-hip-hop heads they're not forgiving you for some stuff that just happened recently with you in your career. All right? So it's going to be a lot of stuff to address on that album. Like Kendrick say, we still got some shit to address. So if you're going to address all that stuff and still make a dope album, then more power to you. I'm going to leave it at that, man. Joe Budden, listen, man. I know I've always had like a love-hate relationship with Budden, the podcaster, all right? The podcaster, the person, yes. But the MC, you could still spit. Do your shit. I want to hear that, all right? I'm going to leave it at that. CLBMG, man, listen. Head on over to black-yeti.com, see what they got over there. They deliver all across the country. You got to put the dash in there, though, black-yeti.com. They just updated the website, got some new products on there, all right? And we also go live every Wednesday night, The What Show, on 8 different streaming platforms. We have 200 plus in the chat every week. We just go in there, man. Y'all get in there and let me know what you think, all right? I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.